the other thing about switching out the Ethernet cord is the fact that the Ethernet cord that I currently have is like 7, 8 years old.
Mm.
So it's like, yeah, I should probably replace it.
Yeah, the one for my controller, the part where it bends slightly, where it connects, is starting to fray.
Ooh.
Where I can like feel like that it's broken a little bit. Okay, so you're doing more
Apparently
reading.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm fighting
Oh,
the.
you were just yeah. Oh, I thought you were just done. Okay.
Welcome to the arena. Can the blue team's brawler possibly hope to defeat the yellow team's wood elf twin sisters?
Yep, you
Let's
gotta fight two
find
people
out.
this time.
Yep.
Fair fight. So see if we can use dragon skin. There you
No, not my
go.
skeleton.
It's like stupid skeleton. Yeah, get rid of one of them at least.
Uh, it's like, what's the matter? Getting tired? No.
Kinda. I mean, you are at half stamina. So. There. The skeleton went away right when he killed the lady, the other one. So now it's a
Good
fair
time.
fight.
You're pathetic.
Now we turn the tides.
Like, oh, that's necromancy, it's illegal. So you did in a public place.
Right.
I think that's what should happen. Like, you just summon undead in a public format by with probably dozens of people, or like probably more close to supposed to be like 100 people watching you.
Good people, we
It's like, I'm not a member of the Mages Guild.
all hail the combatant from the blue team. Victor from the blue team leaves the arena now.
I definitely will go rest. I need to level up.
Yeah, it's just funny because like I think in this time, while the Mages Guild has restricted necromancy, necromancy is still not illegal.
Yeah.
Which
It,
is like okay.
like, this makes no fucking sense.
Ah, those girls didn't stand a chance. Good job, Brawler.
Yeah, there's how do you feel about beating up girls? Hmm?
They were kicking my ass even with
Yeah,
the
like
skeleton.
they almost killed you. It's like, hey, fair.
Alright. Endurance. Oh wow, personality.
You don't need personality.
No, I'm just like, wow. Speed,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, it's because illusion, I believe.
And getting
And the +5 mercantile that you gained
yeah.
from the quest, I believe. So I'd say intelligence or willpower.
I tend to go for the bigger increase. While not always the smartest idea, it's also the idea where it's like it affects how quickly my like when it comes to intelligence and willpower. If I have to choose between the two, I'm choosing the bigger number because either one is a win.
And those aren't dependent on level like endurance is.
Yeah.
Like intelligence is just this amount equals magicka. And then willpower is just your total mana regeneration.
Stop talking already.
Like how quickly you regenerate.
I didn't fuck you, lady.
Yeah, I hate when NPCs do shit like that. It's like, leave me alone. It's like, bitch, I wasn't talking to you or even looking at you. It's like, Like I said, like last week, I think it's like for someone who dislikes interacting on social situations, having NPCs randomly like insult me as I'm walking by, it's like really helpful. Or like, did I tell you about the mod that adds in for Skyrim that adds in actual crowds in cities?
Huh. I
And like I commented on the mod, I'm like, wow, my chorophobia hates this, but this is a good mod.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it makes it more believable at the same time. It's like I don't like this.
And I was like, like, oh, what was it? I said, oh, it's like I play Skyrim to get away from my agoraphobia.
You have my ears.
Oh, what you doing now?
The vampire hunter quest,
Oh, the righteous blood.
Order of the
Order of
Virtuous Blood. Yeah.
So many fucking vampire group names, anti-vampire group names. I don't remember.
It's like we're a vampire group. Oh great, what's your fucking name? We're the Vampire Slayers. Oh cool, basic generic. I love it.
We're called fuck vampires. It's like, okay.
I only have one question. No, we're not actually fucking vampires.
No, it's like,
I had to make sure, man.
hey, yeah, that's a completely different group. Could have the same name. And I still find it funny for Baldur's, like you guys are playing Baldur's Gate, and like
It's an
people are like,
honor to
oh
finally
man, the
meet
star,
you.
it's like so cool.
When I
instead of
heard you were in
vampires,
town,
like,
I
was,
just had to
like
send
blah
for
blah
you.
blah, this and this and this,
Your
and like the
reputation
classic
precedes
vampire
you.
garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, allow
And,
me
like,
to introduce
There's a
myself.
part in the story
I
with
am
starring
Seren.
where he's like, I hate that.
Likewise. Sorry
Like,
to
he
send
absolutely
Gillen's
hates
wife to
that-
get you in
that
that
kind of
manner,
stuff.
but it
Right.
seems safer if we weren't seen on the streets right now. If you'll come with me. Splendid. Walk with virtue, friend. Have you heard any word about the other provinces?
Now follow
Nothing
me
I'd like to talk about.
as I have this
Take care.
conversation quickly with this
Good
NPC
day.
and then walk away.
And then we walk to the same fucking location.
Yep.
Go.
The trick is to wait an hour.
Hello.
As long as the NPC is not looking at you.
Right.
If the NPC is looking at you, that doesn't work.
Because they are trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, like they're tracking you. Like if they're walking to where they're going and you like wait an hour,
Nice to
they
meet you.
usually will just teleport.
Welcome. You're now in the sanctuary of the Order of the Virtuous Blood.
Oh, nice basement.
We are, for lack of a better word, defend. I'm sure you are familiar.
I mean, to be
with
honest,
these
like for
despicable
Cyrodiil
deeds,
vampires, like
feeding
having
on
a
the
secret
innocent
order
as if they were cattle.
that like
Alas,
is like small
we are
is
but
kind of
3
important
old
since
men, not
Cyrodiil
able to
vampires
match
can
the fighting
pass for
prowess of a
human.
vampire.
Exactly.
For
We
living
lack the
people.
strength to defeat them in battle.
It's like that's dangerous.
Our goal is to root
Like
out
one of the few vampire
It's come to the Order's
that can
attention.
do that.
Temple District resident Roland. That's where you come in. We want you to slay this vampire and cleanse the city of. A few nights ago, I was roaming the city as I often. I rushed into the back garden to find Roland struggling with a woman he'd been courting. I tried to. He threw his lover to the ground and turned his attention on me. Luckily, I hid for a while and then returned to the garden. Roland was gone, and the woman was dead. She
remember
had
this
2
quest at all?
puncture marks on the nape of her neck.
It's not Roland, I know that.
That's when I
Okay.
realized
It's the
he
idea
was a
that he was
vampire.
basically
The
getting
Order
pushy
needs
in
you
a
to track him
relationship with her, and
destroy him.
things went bad. They went their separate ways, and it just so happened that the vampire killed her right where she was.
I would start by searching his
I
home.
believe
He hasn't
it's
been
also
there for
that she
days,
was a
so it
vampire.
should be safe. Return to us here.
I think maybe I don't know. I forget.
Who knows when Roland may strike again? You must hurry.
Sir, I work at my own fucking pace. Like, you must hurry. I work at my own pace. The whole city could be turned into vamp. Don't care.
I highly doubt it.
Here, hold on. I'm just gonna stand here for like 5 days.
Like I could sit here for a year and nothing would happen. Like, don't talk shit to me about things being important for time. So I'm a Time Lord.
What? I'm so
One corner worked. It's the... Yeah. Might have to go see Sadie Stanley to buy a bunch of lockpicks.
Oh,
Hey, alright. Hey, at least you got a couple levels out of that.
right. Eh,
I'm
uncrouch.
sneaking. It's on my knees.
Oh no, I saw a comic once where it was I think I shared it on the D&D group where it's like
Oh yeah.
it's
We're
fucking
like
sticking it around all of a sudden his
Dragonborn.
fucking knees just give out and it's like, what did you expect? You've been crouching everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So, you said you didn't have anything you can think about because you were real busy,
Yep.
which is fine. Because I've been doing stuff. So like, the main thing I was looking up is eras, and like how long some of them are. And I'll be fucking honest, our history is like Earth's, like human history is longer than like the timeline for potentially for Elder Scrolls.
Huh.
Like we have relics dating back, like the oldest standing structures built by humans are from 12,000 BC, or yeah, 12,000 BC, I believe. It's the idea that or what was it? There 1 second. I have to look it up. I want to make sure. Yeah, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey is from 9,000 BC, and that is freestanding structures that are still, but like the oldest ones are, yeah, like 11,000 BC.
Hmm.
And okay, like the Dawn era is like when things were just being made, to the point where back then, like early Dawn era, time didn't even exist. So it's kind of hard to judge dates when time doesn't exist.
Right.
And that's like when like all the gods and stuff happened, you know, things like that. And basically that, like, the ending of the Dawn era is when the gods left, like Magnus and all them, like, left when Lorkeen was like, I'm done making Nirn. I almost tricked all of you into dying for it. And the Adamantium Tower was built, because that's where Lorkeen had his heart stolen from. Which I've always find it odd. It's like, oh, here's Magnus. Him leaving made the sun. Also, here's this other elven deity, Oriel, who is the sun. It's like, come on.
Like, what the fuck, man?
Because like most people, it was like, oh, Magnus is the god of magic. And it's like Oriel's the god of light. It's like, you know, you could easily kind of... But it's like, okay. And then it goes to the Merethic era, which is the Mythic era, which only lasted 2,500 years.
Huh.
And, let's see... It's basically when all the elven nations formed and were eventually cast down. Like the Iliads, the Dwemer. And then there's also... There is a difference between Aldmer and Altmer. Aldmer is the first elves from the Merethic era. Like, they are like the progenitor of all the elven races. And they're the ones who came from, God, what's it called? Like the Aldmeris, which is like their like it's basically like they're at Mora.
Okay.
Like how like Red Guards come from Yakuta, kind of thing, where it's like each race kind of seems to come from a place that's now just gone. It's like, huh? It's like Avalon in real life,
Yeah.
where it's like this is where the elves come from. You can't get to it anymore. And then like the ending of the Mythic era is when the slave revolt happened, and basically the first era started with Saint Alessia becoming the first empress. The first era only lasted 2,920 years. And basically, yeah, like there's a lot of shit that happened in that. Like a lot of the known history for stuff happened during that time. Like the founding of the First Empire, like the Yukuns coming from their dimension, the founding of the Chimer into the Chimer and the Dwemer fighting, and then the Dwemer leaving, and like yeah, like the Thracian plague happens here. Like let's see, the Elysian Order, I know, like the founding of the Elysian Empire and the rise of the Elysian Order did not take long. I thought it actually took longer than it did. Because like the Elysian Order was basically like all about like anti-elf. It's basically like the Spanish Inquisition if it was against elves. Kind of thing.
Huh.
And like they're the ones who like rewrite a lot of like the Elysian Empire history of like, oh, Mournhouse wasn't a minotaur. He was an actual person. Kind of stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Basically not completely erase the history, but change it to where it's like it's a little bit more favorable.
Human wash it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, basically like turn it to more human centric. Because like Saint
You need
Alessia
something
like did not kill all the Iliads. To
Can I
basically
interest
like
you in some of
once
my
she
wares?
got freedom for her people, she signed an agreement with the Iliads, being like, okay, we'll worship some of
You've
your
made a good
deities
bit-
and some of our deities, and we'll call them the Eight. That's why like some of them are known to be like Akatosh is an elvish
You
deity,
drive a hard bargain.
Huh.
and like a couple others, I believe, like yeah, like Kine Kinnereth is a Nordic deity, where it's like basically combining all the deity groups, giving them new names, and then calling them the Eight Divines.
Thank you.
It's like, hey, when in human
Come see
history
me
have like
anytime,
other
friend. I'm here day or
new
night.
organizations just taken old gods and just gave them new names? It's like, yeah, it's like humans do that a lot.
Yep, very true.
But where was it? Founding the Elysian Order. Trying to look up a date exactly. But yeah, the Elysian Order was basically like the priest took over.
Greetings, Breton.
A pity so,
Oh,
I've got nothing to
361. It took 361 years for the Elysian Order to rise and basically start genociding elves.
Ah.
After basically Saint Alessia's.
What can I- Not
Yeah,
smart to
like
carry
founding
around
the First
broken
Empire.
equipment. Let's see if we can't teach you a
let's
thing
see.
or two.
Oh, the first known instance of a dragon break happened. There, let's see.
Good day. Eh?
Early to middle part of the first era became known as the classical period. It was after this time a phenomenon known as the dragon break took place across much of Tamriel for 1,008 years. During this time, linear time was broken and became non-linear. So yeah, see, shit like that is why it's hard for timelines to exist for Elder Scrolls. It's like, yeah, time was broken for like 1,000 years. We don't know. Since it's like the idea that time became non-linear, all that could be in 1 second. Like 1,000 years could just be 1 second long. In like realistic time.
Right.
And yes, I am reading straight from Wikipedia, because don't expect me to remember all this shit. It's like, good luck with that.
It goes back to the same thing of when I was at when I did a sales seminar down in Greensboro for at Michelin headquarters, and basically it's like you got assigned tables for a group of people, and it's like, okay, here's this exercise where we're gonna sell tires. I let everybody go before me, and they're all just literally talking out their asses. Then I go forward, grab the booklet that has all the information on the tire, just start reading from the booklet. It's like, this tire has this, blah 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 blah, and every single person in that room was just like, is he allowed to do that? And it's like, I will answer this question for them. Do you have
Like,
this?
why would I not be allowed to look up information?
It's like,
The whole
do you,
point of having a phone in your pocket is you have access to the human subconscious at all times.
well, it was also, do you have this book at your sales desk? Yes. Why the fuck aren't you using it?
Yeah. It's like some people are like afraid to look up stuff they don't know. It's like always like, you don't know something, look for it. Try and look up. You know. It's like people can't remember everything and people don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. Let's see. I'm trying to read very quickly, but I actually don't read very quickly. That's my main problem, is that I read actually very slowly.
No, usually that means that you retain the information that you read
Yeah.
better.
It's also the fact that in 8th grade I had a college rated reading level. But then also had to repeat the 8th grade, Lewis.
Yeah.
How's that for you?
I mean, if I remember right, I had to repeat 7th grade, but for an entirely different reason. By the way, is the
I'm
moon
just-
supposed
like,
to be black?
Where? Oh, that means that it's like a new moon. Gotta remember, Master and Secunda are very much closer than Earth's moon is.
Ah.
Like, they are not that far away in comparison to like our moon.
I mean, that does
I
make
should try and find that.
sense as to why I can see it moving across the sky.
Well, yeah, it's also
Outside.
the concept that time is relative. Like 1 second to us is 10 seconds to them. Like time, or like 20 seconds, because like the time scale is set like 1 to 10, 1 to 20 on most default Elder Scrolls or Bethesda games. So that's why I always think of like the concept of like how long it takes to travel from one place to another. Is even with that, it's still very quick. Like, okay. Let's see. But yeah, during what is known as the War of the Righteous, the Elysian Order was basically destroyed and dissolved. And then Raymond Cyrodiil, which is why it's called Cyrodiil, you know,
Go away. I know what you're here
the
for.
province.
Just leave me alone.
united
Vampire?
the...
Why would
I
you
don't
ask
know
me
if it
about
was in
those
all
filthy
of Tamriel,
creatures?
into the second founding of the Empire, after he beat the Akaviri invasion.
Oh, yeah.
That bastard. Cyrodiil dares accuse
Which
me
the
of being
Akaviri
a
are like
vampire.
the
Me?
serpent people.
He's the one who is the vampire.
Think like Yanti from like D&D stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe him. I knew he would try and pin this on me.
Which
only I could get my hands
the
on him.
blades, like the use of katanas and stuff. That's from Akaviri.
I'm sorry. I've been
Like,
hiding up here in this
Akaviri is
cabin
supposed
and I
to be
forgot
very much
my
like
manners.
Japanese, Chinese
Try and
culture.
understand. I loved her. I'd never harm her. Ralphina was the love
Like,
of
all
my
the
life.
blade stuff is
For the first time, I had a...
Akaviri.
When she started taking walks in the garden at night, I became
Because the
suspicious.
Dragon Guard are a group that Raymond Cyrodiil basically founded from the remnants of the Akaviri armory, but I believe.
Yes. I must let someone else know. That night, when she stopped in the garden and Cyrodiil stepped out of the shadows, she seemed entranced as he wrapped his arms around her and sank his teeth into her neck. I burst from my hiding place and attacked. He became startled for a moment and tossed Ralphina aside. She fell to the ground. I was no equal to
See.
Cyrodiil. He knocked me down in one quick movement.
He didn't attack
As
her.
I lost
Yeah.
consciousness, I saw him
It's
laugh and
literally
then
the
run
guy
away.
who's claiming that he's the vampire
Now,
is
I
the
know why he
vampire.
didn't finish me that
Mhm.
night. He wanted to cast suspicions on me. I panicked. By the time I awoke, her body was gone. I knew Seridor was a respected member of the community. They'd never believe he was a vampire. I retreated here to... I appreciate your forbearance.
Like, I'm trying not to talk when you're talking. The red hand means stealing.
I know.
Like, it's only flawless diamond is 100. It's not that much. It's not like Skyrim. Okay. Let's see. Yep. Eventually, Cyrodiil is reunified by Raymond Cyrodiil, establishing the Second Empire after his defeat of the Akaviri army. Let's see. Expanded his empire to conquer almost all of Tamriel, save for Morrowind. Hey, you wanna know why he wasn't able to conquer Morrowind?
The Mountain Brothers or whatever.
No, the three deities,
Oh, right. The
I believe. If they were around then, I think they more than likely were. Yeah, the Chimer and the Dwemer war happened during the earlier in the second era or first era. So yeah.
yeah, the Living Tribunal type thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, it's basically like how Tiber Septim also was like, we're gonna make a deal with the three living gods to have them join our group. Be like, okay, well, slavery's still legal for you, and like there's like a bunch of like caveats, so like things they're allowed to do, but like they're still technically part of the empire. And it's like, yeah, hey, guess what? That's kind of important when you have three gods. And that's not like figurative. Like the Living Tribunal were all like people that have achieved Chim
Yeah.
or Kim. CHIM. I believe 2 M's. Not sure. Which I.
My athletics became apprentice. My rate of fatigue regenerates when
Nice.
running is increased by 25%.
Yeah, because you only regenerate a certain. So see, now you don't even drain fatigue when you're running around. You know how fucking great that is?
Yeah.
Gobbly. What were we just talking about?
We were on an era, and you were talking about how they didn't invade.
Tribunal.
Yeah, they didn't invade Morrowind because the Living Tribunal was a thing.
In either Coda or in one of the books of Vivek, he describes what happened when he achieved Chim. It's God, what is it? Nirn is the spoke of a wheel. The divines are the arms of the wheel. And then I forget what's on the out. I think it's Asterius is the outside. And the spaces between each of the spokes is the Daedra.
Ah.
And he described it that he saw it, like, rather than being like standing on it, he saw it from the side. And like that's what's supposed to happen when you achieve Chim, or like are challenged by it. Because it's supposed to be that like you're like, oh, reality doesn't exist, I'm not real. People who achieve Chim are like, yes, I do, with 100% conviction. The problem is that one of the reasons that the Dwemer, not one of the Dwemer, when they try to do it, are so logical that they're like, you don't exist. Then like, here's proof. And they're like, got it.
And then they stop existing.
Yes, 100%. They are such a logical people, and the fact that they are all connected through their the calling, which is like their telepathy, that they're like, boom, we achieved Chim all together as one race. And they're like, you don't exist. And they're like, yup.
Beep.
Just gone. Because it's like, it takes an illogical mind to say I exist in the face of proof you do not. And let's see. Okay. The first era was 2,920 years. The starting of the second era is when when Ram and Cyrodiil reunifies like all Tamriel under one empire again. How long do you think the second era lasted?
10 years.
896.
Oh.
Let's see. The problem with like the second era, I believe from like the video I watched of it like a couple weeks ago, is that it's a lot of political stuff, and I'm like, I hate this. This is boring. It's like this king fought this king and blah, and this.
Part of the reason why, like, as much as Adam wants to do like political D&D campaigns, like, it's not as fun as you think it is. Because politics is boring.
Yeah.
At least,
And Adam is not George R. R. Martin.
no, he doesn't know how to plot hook good fantasy.
He loses track of stuff too easily.
You know what he should do? Do what the creator of One Piece, Oda, does. Get famous enough where people make a wiki about it for you, and then you can use the wiki to remember.
Yep.
And he has openly admitted that.
It's like that's like Kaboom's theory of why he's allowed to read. It's like there's so much more space outside my brain than inside of it. Why should I have to remember everything?
Exactly.
Let's see.
It's like I tell my coworkers all the time. It's like, I don't know why my brain does it, but it's like I remember the location of every single tire I put away. It's like, why would you, like, why? It's like,
Don't ask why brain do.
brain just does.
It's like that's why like I tell you, it's like I don't pick what my brain remembers. And also, if you ask me a question, like if I'm trying to come up whole cloth of what we're gonna do, it's like my brain is just like, I don't know. It's like, oh, no starting point. Okay. Oh, we got another bot and
Yeah.
a commercial.
Oh!
Not bad. Okay, well, the second era is, let's see, it says the era begins with the Akaviri Potentate, which is basically, let's see, the Akaviri Potentate is called Akaviri Empire. It is the given name of the period of the Second Empire.
Oh,
after
fuck.
the assassin- Oh, what happened?
Chief.
Oh, yeah. After the assassination of Raymond III and the end of the Raymond dynasty. So, like, the Akaviri Potentate is technically known as the Third Empire. Like, oh, that's what it was. One of the things I found out. Oh, there's another commercial already?
No,
Is it wrong?
I have it set up to where, like, it does a certain number of them.
Okay. But for, like, I think at least 100 years, the Septim dynasty was being controlled by a Dumner woman.
Huh.
And I was like, huh, okay. Because, like, she was the wife of one of the Septims. And it's like always like, oh, it's just the Imperials are the ones. And it's like there's like right here. It's like the Akaviri Potentate. It said like what was he? He was a. It said his like Potentate Berisu. God, I fucking Berisidu Shihei is a Tiskaski, which is like the snake people. So, like, for a while, like, Cyrodiil was being controlled by an Akaviri snake person.
Give me a second.
Yep.
Yeah, I texted Finley back, but I don't know if she's gonna call, so that's why I'm like,
Hey, guess what happens during the second area? Oh, hey, the Empire fell apart again.
oh no.
It's like,
Who could have foreseen?
yeah. Okay, so now that we're in the second area, I'm going to switch over to the other timeline we have. So, second era lasts for 896 years. Elder Scrolls Online starts in 582 as second era. And so far for the DLC goes to the same
Okay.
developer intentions. The only other game from the Elder Scrolls that happens in the second era, you know what it is?
Second era.
I'm gonna guess you've never played it and might not even know about it.
It's not Daggerfall, is it?
No, because that's the second one. Like that's Elder Scrolls 2.
Right. I'm trying to think. I'm blanking. Which game is it?
Redguard,
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was one that was like it's a very
which is nothing like other Bethesda games.
yeah.
And I've seen gameplay of it. It does not look fun. Think Prince of Persia if like it had like 20 frames per second and not very good combat. I saw a video earlier today about it. It's like oh man, you fight it like a green dragon in that. It's like one of the last dragons that's still around. Like oh man, this is gonna be a bad fight. Like if you stand too close to it, it can hit you.
The classic cheese tactic of oh hey.
Oh, ankles. Yeah, like that's the only Elder Scrolls game that besides Elder Scrolls Online that happens in the second year, and that's 864. And Elder Scrolls Redguard involves Cyrus, who eventually him and his sister become king and queen of Stros Makai. Which Stros Makai is like one of them. The major, I think it's the capital of Hammerfall. And then, let's see. Oh, hey, while the Empire is like falling apart, second activated invasion. But this time they invade Skyrim. Let's see. Yeah, it's like, this is basically a lot of the stuff we're supposed to do. Just like, okay. Like, I'm just not really interested in it all. Mostly the fact that I'd have to pay DLC to play as a Necromancer, and I'm like, I don't get that. Like, I tried playing Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was one of those things where, like, even for me, I'm like, it's not bad. But then at the same time, it's like,
It's still an MMO.
yeah.
So, let's just jump right, let's see, to the end of the third year, or second year. Let's say second year at King the Oblivion Estates. Yeah, I believe that's it. Yeah. Pain. Fucking hate names sometimes. He's power launch the leader of his Legion, General Talos. Yeah, so Talos wasn't even the head person in charge. He was the general of the person in charge. A year later, more than half the Syrian Empire was reclaimed or consolidated, and he kept the Imperial City and proclaimed himself Emperor. Skyrim and Hierarch opposed the return of Cyrodiilic rule, gathered their armies for a joint invasion of the Chaldean West. The Nords that come to oppose the Empire soon joined the general's forces. When they heard his doom, they believed him to be a son of Skyrim, an heir to the Empire of Man. Cthulhucan was assassinated soon after, and Talos became emperor.
Oh, man, that's a lot of fucking shit to happen.
And like that's just like the last part. Because like the middle section is like, oh, the soul burst, and like that's ESF. Like that's when like yeah, a bunch of people like have their souls taken out and some people like.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're on to the third era. Let's see. Yeah, every other game besides actually like about half of the remaining games take place in this era. Once again, most of them you probably never played. Do you want to know how long the third era lasts?
Yeah.
433 years.
So
They keep getting shorter.
yeah, it's almost like
It's almost as if shit's getting worse every time. And things are breaking down. The idea that, like, trying to perpetuate motion just degrades over time. Because, like, Alduin is supposed to have eaten the world, like, way before then. Because, like, his whole point was that he was supposed to eat the world and cause it to restart itself. Instead, he decided to become and put himself in charge. And that's why Parthenax had to fight against them. Basically, he went against what Akatosh told him to do, or made him to do. Okay. But yeah, the third era starts with the Seventh Dynasty. Which, let's see... considered actually a divine ruler, and one of the first one, he refines the Amulet of Kings in an Akaviri ruin. And wears it. And basically like, oh, it's like, which basically instantly ties him to a dragon bloodline. Let's see. A lot. Okay, now let's go back down to the other one. Okay. So the third era lasts for 433 years. The first Elder Scrolls game starts in 389, which is when Raymond Cyrodiil was captured by Jaeger Tharn and trapped in, I think, the Battle Spire, like a plane of Oblivion, and Jaeger Tharn pretended to be the Emperor for like a decade. And you play the Eternal Champion, who's basically like one of Jaeger Tharn's apprentices, I believe, who eventually reassembles the pieces of the Staff of Chaos and reopens the portal and allows the Emperor to escape and defeats Jaeger Tharn.
Okay.
The first Elder Scrolls Arena takes 10 years in the timeline to occur.
Wow.
And not just for like how long the Emperor was trapped. Like that's like how long it took him to travel, because like Arena is all of the province of all the provinces, like Skyrim, like all of them.
Yeah.
But it's very much like click and go to an area. Like it's the first game, so it's like real rudimentary. And hey, guess what? Traveling
Any friend
across countries that are supposed to
Let's
be
do
realistic
business.
size takes a long time.
Hey, Raptor.
Yo, Raptor Nuggets.
Yep, Raptor Nuggets. How's it going, Raptor?
Yellow. I shoot a
You
DM.
drive a hard bargain.
Good. Got done with DM. That's good. Hope their session went well.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. But yeah, like Elder Scrolls Arena, first Elder Scrolls game. Came out in 1994. The event is known as the Imperial Simulacrum. You know,
You
Imperial
drive a hard
duplicate.
Yeah.
A
The next
fine
game in the
transac-
timeline happened in 397. Do you want to know what that game is? It came out in
That's a
2004.
good deal.
2004. That would be Morrowind, right?
Nope. I'm gonna tell. Okay, it was released on the N-Gage.
Yeah, I have no idea what that. Like, I know what the N-Gage is. I have
yeah.
no idea the game.
Yeah,
at this point.
Shadow Key. The
Another
fucking mobile game, which is then followed in 398. In 1997 is when it was released. Legends of the Battle Spire, which is an actual game, but just not very good, I believe. Because it's very much you play you play a Imperial Battle Mage who basically has to go through the Battle Spire to defeat Mirren's Dagon. And it's basically a big dungeon crawler. And that's it.
Oh, okay.
And then, in
Hey, any
405 of the Third Era,
only
is
quality
Daggerfall.
goods for sale here.
which is
What?
the second one, released 2 years after Arena. And until Minecraft came around,
That's
it
a
was
fair
known as
deal.
the biggest game world in history. Granted, most of that was
Tell your
empty space, but you could
Good
still
day.
walk it.
Yeah.
And one of the two people in charge of its creation, who are not Todd Howard, because he did not work on this one. He worked on Morrowind as his first one. I have to look up their names. So I know one of them, Julian LeFay, who, I don't know if you remember this at all, but the namings of the 8 Divines mostly came from people on the forums. Like
Yes,
how-
now I remember it.
And Julian LeFay was the only one who wasn't, and he is Julianus.
Yeah.
Let's see, it's Ted Peterson and Julian LeFay, lead developers and the team behind Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall, are making a one-to-one world-size RPG
Go
called
ahead.
World Wars. And thankfully, they fully fund it
Can I interest you in some of my
under,
wares?
I think, either Kickstarter or something else. But it is a real world side, like procedurally generated, because that's what Daggerfall was as well. Creation of a one-to-one world space in size. And they're like, oh, will you have fast travel? It's like, of course. But yeah, like, that's one of the games I'm really looking forward to. It's like, I've tried playing Daggerfall. It's old. I even tried with all the mods and like Daggerfall Unity and stuff. It's like
Unfortunately,
still- yeah. Even with like all the updated stuff, it's just not enough. Daggerfall goes from 405 to 417. So 12 years for that game to happen.
Okay.
And that involves you are a personal friend of Uriel Septim. He sends you to meet a Blade agent, I believe. If she's a Blade agent, I think she is. To basically, the whole point of the plot is that a orc chieftain found out that Queen Baranzaya.
What did- Have a look around.
No,
You
it
won't
was
find better prices in all town.
one of the queens of High Rock
I offer.
was having an affair
May
with
I
Uriel
interest you
Septim.
in some of my fine wares?
And he wrote her a love letter, and he got a hold of it. So he started making copies of it and sending out to the most important people in the province. because he basically was like selling it so that people would know when like political stuff would happen.
Right.
And basically the main idea of the plot is that you're a close personal friend of Ariel Seppi. He's like, hey, go get this for me. And what ends up happening is that you get in contact with a bunch of different organizations. Like one of them is like Marco, and like the Underking, and like the Orc King and stuff like. And basically, you can pick who you side with. And like, if you side with like Man Marco, like it ends up happening to where the whole point is you're trying to find the Mantella, which the Mantella is the power device for the Numidians, which is like the god machine. And basically, your character, there's a scene where you go to where where the Mantella is, and what people have noticed is that the figure for the Mantella, like the icon for it, looks like a baby, but it's supposed to be a gem.
I understand. A letter, eh?
And what it's been theorized is that the Mantella is
I wasn't aware he had a cabin outside of the city.
the child
Perhaps
of
that's where... I'm afraid we cannot go with you to this remote...
forget who. I think it's
I
Scooter and
believe
Zaya
that
and
Greythroat
Tiber
and Gillen may have
like their
boarded...
illegitimate child that Tiber Septim used as the
Sarah is asleep.
like basis for the
We've had a
Mantella.
long night of study.
And then it has the soul, like the half soul of Yuzmir Wolfharth and Zaren Arcus. Zaren Arcus. Which, because he only has half of his soul, is now the Underking. And he's like, I want my other half of my soul back.
My knowledge is at your disposal.
So like he can side with him,
I've
and he
learned
basically
some
like
more
once he gets it, he just dies.
Vamp-
He's like, thank you, I can die now.
Oh, a cabin is an unusual
And like if you
hiding
get
for
it
a
to
vampire.
Man Marco, he basically turns himself into the King of Worms. Where like part of like he goes off and becomes a god. And like you can give it to a whole bunch of different organizations. This is where like to kind of consolidate all the shit that happened in that game, a Dragon Break happens. So like all of them happens, and it's called the Miracle of Peace, where all of the shit happened like peacefully. That's why it's like the idea that the amount of markers you encounter in Oblivion is the human remnants left over by the King of Worms when he left, because both are true. He is both man and god. Good luck with that. That's all you can do. I would recommend for shit like that is you save before you do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the idea that the metamark you encounter in Oblivion is like the cast off parts that the god left over. Because like since he basically didn't become a god in the other ones, and then became a god in the one that you chose, it's the idea that both are true. It's like that he is both a god and he's not a god. And basically, and then we're like they reestablished like control of the empire with the Numidian, which is basically just like, hey, send this giant death robot to like stomp down people.
A letter.
I gotta find a picture of that for you.
I believe. I understand. Oh, Dovin
There's
Al.
basically like it's like shooting like it's like one I saw where it was like shooting lasers or something. Or like there's a picture I saw where it's like at the horizon. Because the thing is supposed to be fucking massive.
Okay. I'm at the point of so this guy was accused of being the vampire by Roland. So did I just straight up kill him, or
What's the question?
basically it tells me that I have to decide what to do next.
Save and just try and attack him.
Okay.
I mean, you have times powers.
I hope things are going well.
Oh, okay, so that's not what you're supposed to do because he just went unconscious.
Okay.
So I think maybe you have to find
You
proof.
look uneasy. I hope things are going well.
She's in his fucking bedroom, probably.
Oh yeah, probably. Okay, I'll find the picture later. Because we're almost okay. The next one, in year 427. You will definitely know this one. It was released in 2002. Oh no, there's two other ones. There's both happened in 427. There's Elder Scrolls Travels, Stormhold, and Dawnstar, both mobile games. Released in 2003. And then in 427, there is Morrowind, which is the first game where all this stuff happens in 1 year. Which, you know, Morrowind.
Save again.
Played that before. Let's see. And then,
Fucking A.
5 years after Morrowind is Oblivion.
So like the time between games seems to get shorter. For a little
No,
bit.
Well, for a while, yeah. Like the idea of like, okay, Elder Scrolls Arena happened.
Hail. What's
3D9.
going on with you?
That was
There were some
there's a
goblins
space
around here
between it and
recently.
Oblivion of
Awful
40
creatures.
years, 40, 50
Terrible
years.
creatures. They travel in packs, and they're always up to no
So,
good.
like that's not
Farewell.
much in comparison to like the
It's
thousands
you.
of years of history and
Ah.
stuff that they have.
How are things?
And then in okay. So yeah, the ending. Hey, guess what? Spoilers for this game. I don't think anyone cares. If they do, too bad. But the ending of this game is Martin Septim sacrifices himself to steal all the realms of Oblivion from taking over Nirn, because Nirn is in itself a realm of Oblivion, just Lurkane's. Which is why they're allowed to do that. Because Daedric princes are allowed to conquer each other's lands. You know, Jiggalad.
Yep.
And then, in order, it goes for the timeline. Let's see. Goes for Oblivion. It goes Knights of the Nine. So you become, basically the avatar of Perennial Whitestrake, and take up basically the Grand Crusader. And then you go to the Shivering Isles, and then end up mantling Sheogorath and ending the Grey March on the Shivering Isles by allowing him to stay as Jiggalag and you staying as Sheogorath. Which, if you don't remember, do you remember what mantling is, Lewis?
Mantling. No, not off the top of my head.
In the sense for mantling for Elder Scrolls is that the term is defined as following in their steps until you become them. And for like deities, like Daedra and stuff, mantling is basically where you kill them and take over their job. But the point is that they can never die in like any way that really matters, so that eventually you become them again. So it's the idea like they can't really be killed in the same way that regular people can. They just
You beating those
eventually
twins is
become
a good
you,
sign.
and you become them, kind of thing. Which
Your
is
next opponent is a Khajiit.
one of the ideas I have
Not one of-
for like Boethia is one of the Daedric princes that is shown to be multiple genders in different games. Like in Oblivion, I believe. In Morrowind, I think, yeah, in Morrowind they're a man. In Oblivion, they're a man, but in Skyrim, they're female.
Yeah.
So my idea is that because Boethia's whole point
Good
is
people of the Imperial City,
defeating strong people and being like winning fights, is that
the
Boethia is
winner of
constantly
this
being
match
mantled by
will
someone
advance
else.
to the rank of Bloodletter.
At least, like that's how I think of it.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah.
yellow team or the
Because it's
blue
like if you can
team?
be stronger than me, you
Let's
deserve to be me,
find out.
kind of thing. But it's also implied in like I think in some of the writing for Kirkbride that Boethia is Lorcaine's lover, and that's why she's pitting all the elves against each other.
Let's get this over with.
Like that's why she has the dominator like it's like kill each other to see who's strongest. Because she's like Lorcaine doesn't like elves. That's why he's sure, you know. the one who is amassing an army in Sovngarde to kill the elves.
Oh!
So it's like, oh, you killed my lover. Well, guess what? I'm gonna trick you guys into killing yourselves, so it's easier for my for them to win the war.
Oh!
Which is one of the reasons why
Where you fall down and bleed.
I don't know why you say like that. Which is why when you go to Sovngarde in Skyrim, you don't see shore. It's because you are shore. Because you're the Cesarine, which Cesarine is a physical embodiment of shore. And shore is Lorcaine.
Okay.
So it's like that's why you don't see them when you go there. It's because you are them. And that's also implied that why you're able to go there in general anyway. Because like the only living things that can go through there are you and Alduin. So it's like one of them is the guardian of souls, and the other one is like eating them. So it's like
Right.
so but yeah, the death of Martin by sacrifice becoming the Avatar of Akatosh is what ends the third era and starts the fourth era.
We have a winner! All hail the combatant from the blue
And
team. Victor from
what's the
blue
starting year
team.
for Skyrim?
Leave
Lewis, do you
the
remember?
arena now and rest. You earn it.
I don't, actually.
201. Less than half already of the third era. But it's not over yet. Like, it's still ongoing.
Okay, so you can
But,
fight.
let's see.
You made it to Bloodletter.
Elder Scrolls Legends, which is the card game, has mostly the fourth era stuff.
Get a move on.
And then another novel, Elder Scrolls Infernal City. Which Infernal
Hail,
City,
good citizen.
I've read like a
How
basic
can I be of service?
summary of it. It's basically when Vivek left, Barad-dûr, the giant comet, was going to crash into Vivek. And the people left over were like, we can't let that happen. So they basically built like a spirit engine inside of it to sacrifice souls to it to keep it floating. And they had help doing it from Clavicus Vile to like bargain, like to get souls from. You know, because like he's kind of like good at that. You know, because of Umbra.
Oh.
Because Umbra is part of his power. Like that's a piece of him. Like that's why he always wants it back. So like his whole like part of his power is like absorbing souls, and it's in the book Infernal City. I think I don't know if it's like in other ones that like are after it, but it ends up being that the main character who had his like lover like soul sacrificed to this machine ends up with Umbra and throws it into the Infernal machine, destroying them both. That's why Umbra is not in Skyrim. And that's what causes Barad-dûr to crash into Vivek. Starting the Red Year, which is basically like when the Red Mountain erupted for a year straight. And basically drove the Dunmer people
Your
into
trust.
basically being mostly refugees.
I suppose
That
you must.
and the fact that
Thank you.
in
I
Black
know.
Marsh,
I don't.
the Hist knew about
Remain
the
leery of
Oblivion crisis beforehand and had all their soldiers come back to Black Marsh and be like, hey, get ready. And when the Oblivion gates opened, the Argonian armies rushed in first.
Yep.
And basically, like, immediately, they're like, we can't go there.
Close the fucking gates in this
Yeah.
area
'Cause
now.
remember, like, the Oblivion crisis is not just happening in Cyrodiil, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the Argonians did such a strong offensive, they pushed back the Oblivion crisis. But then, because it made them stronger, and then the Red Year, they invaded Morrowind. And we're like, hey, guess what? You want to have us be slaves for thousands of years?
I'm Fintius, owner
It's
and...
like, hey, look, another elven race that got what they deserved.
Let's do business.
That seems to happen a lot.
That is a very expensive scroll.
Yeah, a one-time use scroll that's not even that good. If anything, find it in his place and steal it.
You bought that for a song.
Dang it! Open my music player. Switching windows.
You bought that for a song.
More Elder Scrolls Legends from 175 to 201, which still the card game. 176 to 201 is the board game. And then you get another actual game, like a video game. Elder Scrolls The Blades. Have you ever played that, Lewis?
Nope.
It's okay for a mobile game. It's like a 3D, like, you can clearly tell it's... Oh, hey. It's like it uses the same models as Skyrim. Like straight up. But it basically involves
Good day. What can I...
the slaying of an Iliad Lich
I
that's
offer
trying to
the
return
finest goods and...
by like a
drop-
the remnants of the blades.
Yeah.
I only played it for like maybe like 10 hours,
Thank
and that was on the Switch.
I'm not really at liberty to
But
discuss...
the last thing in all the timeline is
What?
Skyrim in 201, which is
Excellent.
Civil War,
I
Return of
accept.
Dragons, Tyranny of the Sun, and
Excellent.
Return of
I
the First
accept.
Dragonborn.
Well, isn't that sweet of you? Thank you. How kind. Every little bit helped. See? Was that hard? Sarader? He comes in
Which,
from time to time.
my theory
Usually it's when he's out
for
shopping.
future Elder
He
Scrolls
always
games
comes in with a
is
large
that
amount of travel food
the
in his
last
bag.
Dragonborn
Then
becomes the
sometimes
new
he buys
emperor.
a few books. I asked him once about it, and he said that he goes out of the
because-
city on business trips. I think I
What
overheard
is
him once
one of the
mention
last
Memorial
powers that
Cave
the
to another
Dragonborn
patron of
gets
mine. But he
in
never
the
talked to
DLC
me.
for the last, the
Yes.
Dragonborn?
It's outside of the Imperial City. I heard it's a place where many... I just assumed
It's the
Sarader
full
had a
power Ben
relative
Will.
that died, but Sarader is a stubborn one. I looked it up once in an old atlas I had.
So the idea is that all he has to do is go into the Imperial Council, or like
Good day.
because if you sided with the Dark Brotherhood, you killed the Emperor. So the Imperial Council is in charge again. All you'd have to do is go walk into that room and Ben Will, I'm in charge now.
You're right.
It's like I'm the Emperor, and it's the idea like, yeah.
Okay, caves there.
So it's like my idea is that in the background, like between the games, that the Dragonborn will basically reunify the Empire, or just let it fall apart. If anything, I don't know.
Basically, it all depends on the raiders.
Mm-hmm. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, the refounding the Aldmeri Dominion, which the Aldmer tricked the Khajiits into doing it because of after the Void Nights, which is the year long or 2 years it says, where the moons were gone in the sky. Hey, guess what's really important for the Khajiits?
The moon.
Yeah, the thing that influences how they're born. Like what shape they take when they're born.
Yeah. Whether they're tiny kitty humanoid.
With like super magic powers and can still talk, or a giant like pack animal that actually is not intelligent, I believe, or has like low level intelligence. But yeah, like there are like a dozen different variants of Khajiits based on what faces the moon of each moon that they're in, like born in. And like that's why like there's the difference between Marwyn's Khajiits, where like they have like the what's it called when the ankle bends backwards? I know there's a word for it.
Oh,
you know.
like how the leg is, you mean?
Yeah, like where they're it's like a dog's leg, or like the ankle bends backwards instead of like ours does. Yeah, and then like how they are in Oblivion and Skyrim, where like there are different versions. There's also ones that are like 8 feet fucking tall and like super buff. and are still humanoid.
I saw a horse, and I'm like, is that a free horse? It's like,
Like, nope, nope.
nope. The guard is literally on the other side. He got off his horse to fight a fucking.
Ah, dang it, our bot. I got it.
Yep.
Bot. Okay, but yeah, like there are a bunch of different like the, and they each have like their own like unique name. I had that chart before, I forget. But yeah, like the Aldmeri Dominion tricked the Khajiits into joining them because they're like, oh, we're the ones who made the moons come back, because they knew when they would come back, because they're the Aldmer, so like they're not stupid.
Right.
And then there's the secession of Hammerfall, which how that worked is they're like, oh, it's just Hammerfall is seceding, and the Aldmeri Dominion is like, well, I forget what it was, but like they didn't like, because like they're seceding from the Empire, which means they're going to be like an issue for them. And what ended up the Emperor, or like at least the Council doing, is they're like, well, we'd like to stop them. Like we'll try to stop them. And before they signed anything with like the Aldmeri Dominion, they're like, hey, all Red Guard members of the Empire, you can go home on leave now if you want. Do you want to go home right now? You can. So it's like the idea that the Empire was like, hey, Red Guards, you should go defend your country. And basically like allowed them to leave if they wished.
I don't have a water potion of breathing, so I'm not gonna risk it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a fucking genius move where it's like,
Well, we're not going to stop them from having their leave. They're allowed to. We're a very lawful people in the Empire here. What they do with their free time is their own accord. Very much the bureaucratic, like, middle finger to the Aldmeri Dominion. It's like, man, I wish we could do something about this, but they're allowed to do this.
mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, oh, well. Let's see what else. Yeah, Rock from Red Mountain, which I told you before. I remember. The person who I was talking about, who caused the destruction of Winterhold, is, oh god, what's his name? The Augur of Dunlane, the giant glowing orb.
Yeah.
You meet in the quest. He's the one who did the ritual.
Oh, fucking.
So it's the idea that the Augur of because Augur is like a diviner.
Yeah.
And Dunlane is a Breton city, or like someplace in High Rock, I think that they said. And it's like, hey, and then based on like the content stuff they found of like a Breton member of the College of Winterhold that had like a big nose. So it's like, oh, he's part Hagraven, blah blah blah, and then there is a Forsworn altar in the midden. So it's like a lot of things that like you can kind of connect together to make sense.
Yeah.
So it's like he was using like Reachman magic to do a ritual, and ended up making himself part of the College of Winterhold, which is why it survived. Because he basically kind of held it together.
Neat.
And then, but also, yeah, the disruption of Red Mountain happened like years before then. So like they're like, oh, that's what caused. No, it wasn't. Let's see what else. Oh, in Oblivion, there is talk you can hear between NPCs talking about. They're like, oh, something's happening in the Somerset Isles. I'm like, oh, Somerset Isles. It's like, yeah. And they're talking about the rise of the Aldmeri Dominion.
Ah.
Which is like the super anti-human hate group.
Yeah.
And the reason Like, do you remember the reason I told you why they want to get rid of Talos for the trip?
No, not off the top of my head.
Because he is, as a human deity, he's one of the pillars that holds up the world. Like, he's one of the things that, like, makes the world still exist. Like, the elven deities fucked off and left. You know, like Magnus and Oriel. They, like, because they don't want to live in a world where they're not allowed to live forever.
Right.
And the main difference also is that the Elnathay is like the original spirits of like what everything was before they became mortal. The difference, literally one of the only differences between men and elf, is that elves like are like we are related to the gods. Like I'm like direct ancestor of one of the gods. And men are like, I was made from the gods. That's it. Also, do you know who created Lorcain?
Oh, I remember you've said this before.
Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, Lorcain's the one who made it all Nirn. It's like, oh, he must be someone important. It's like, he was made by Sithis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Lorcain is the god of chaos. In the sense that he is a chaotic entity, in the sense that he basically tricked all the other Magnachi into basically giving themselves mortal forms and trapping them on Nirn. And that's what the Aldmeri Dominion want to get rid of. They want to destroy Nirn so they can go back to being immortal spirits.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and you can actually fight underwater too.
Yeah.
You can use you can use magic too. I think only touch spells, maybe. Careful. But yeah, like that's what that all in all Thalmor thing is about, where it's like the Aldmeri Dominion are like, hey, we made a new Numidium out of the parts of like two different ones, and we're using it to basically destroy the rest of the pillars. Which the pillars are like the towers.
Yep.
And there's only one left now.
That is
The Adamantine Tower, the first one. Which is why a lot of people think that the next Scrolls game is going to be in High Rock. Because if it is, that better be the main plot. That the Aldmeri Dominion are trying to destroy the Adamantine Tower. Else I'm going to be fucking mad.
Yeah, we'll see when it comes out though.
Yeah.
And whether or not
Hey, as long as it's an actual open world game with exploration that I don't have to go through loading screens every time I want to go somewhere. Like, that's my only issue with Starfield. Like, oh, it's open world exploration game. It's like, every travel thing is a menu. Like, in Skyrim, I can walk from one side of the province to the other, not seeing a single loading screen. That's what I want. Like, that's the main issue a lot of people have with stuff. I like the gameplay. I like, in general, they're nice.
But the
they have
fact-
vehicles. They have fucking like proper parkouring for getting around the environment. Like, it's really good for the Bethesda game to have. Yeah, that's gonna be cool if they keep that for like Fallout and stuff.
right,
They
instead
need
of
what?
instead of like trying to like trick yourself around an area,
Yeah.
you actually fucking
Yeah, it's like the difference between like Dark Souls, trying to get to a place, and Elden Ring having a jump button. Because in Dark Souls games, what you had to do to jump is you'd run, and then hit the run button again while you're running to jump forward. In Elden Ring, it's a single button press and has its own combat style. Where like you do extra damage when you do jump attacks, and then you have stuff that enhances that further. So it's like, yeah, I'm mostly looking forward for like open world games is the next From Software Hayao Miyazaki games. Because he's like, Elden Ring's not the perfect game I want to make, and people are like, oh, it's like, wow, really? He's like, yeah, it's just not what I want. It's not all I want. And it's the idea that he wants a open world RPG like Bethesda, but with his stuff.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's fucking amazing. Like I told you before, it's like if that happens, I don't think I'll be playing a different game again. Because like, yeah, there's a reason I'm not that much into Elder Scrolls anymore. Because I've switched over to From Software stuff. Because it's so much cooler. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's something that me and Ivan were talking about like a week or so ago. He's like, oh man, I'm really into like Dark Souls like side scroller games. I'm like, okay, well, it's like I talked to him about a couple that he'd be interested in. He's like, okay, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's like, I really like the aesthetic of Dark Souls games. I'm like, oh, what book do you think I told him to read?
Dark Souls book.
For art aesthetic.
Oh,
You know it.
I know.
One of the main aesthetics for Dark Souls, at least Dark Souls 3, is the Eclipse. What's the Eclipse from?
Berserk. Berserk.
Yes.
Yes.
I told Ivan, like, hey, you should read Berserk.
Yes.
And hey, guess what? If Ivan gets into Berserk, he's gonna do a lot of fucking drawings.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine Berserk stuff in Ivan style.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fucking great.
Yeah, that's all. I was like, oh man, like if I get Ivan into Berserk, Lewis is gonna be so happy.
Fuck great. Like it. I happened upon a YouTuber. I don't know his name, but he does a lot of talking about like heroes and stuff. And he's like the issue with Guts is that he doesn't fall into one category like most MCs do. He is literally his own unique thing where he's the struggling hero. Where it's like no matter how much he does, he will always be struggling.
Yeah, because it's like there's once again, all in all, did a drawing of Guts versus the Wasp Queen, where she has like all the children.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you going to do, kill children? That's just like, yes. If this is what you're going to turn them into, yes. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, the moment you did this to them, they can't come back.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like he accepts the fact that people cannot come back from that.
Yeah, it's like I don't care if they were children or not. It's like, I have to kill them. It's a mercy. So it's like the idea, it's like he will do what needs to be done regardless of what other people think of him. And that might be awful. And from what I've read of some of the stuff from Berserk, Guts himself does fucking awful shit.
Unfortunately he makes that decision because of the fact that he knows through his own life experience that it's like it's just exactly how things are. Like it's just the world is shit and you gotta do shitty things sometimes.
Yep. Like the idea of like things will get worse before they get better.
Before I actually continue this quest, I wonder where there's a bed.
Maybe in the fort, like up on top. There might
Yeah.
be. If not, you can fast travel back to like town and sleep. But yeah, that's basically like a general summary of like in historic order of the Bethesda games and like the era lore. In very broad strokes, because like I said, the second era is fucking boring, to me at least. Because it's all like political backstabbing, like the Dark Brotherhood it rose during the second era, I believe, and like they killed like multiple emperors. Oh, that's also during the second era. Let's see. A Reachman became emperor, known as the Longhouse Emperors.
That's
Yeah. Like, it's a lot of shit like that where it's like, why is this person emperor?
they won.
Like, it's not all just Imperials.
It's like they won. It's like they won what?
Like,
They won.
so they took over for a while. Like, it's real life, like, kingdoms where it's like, oh, well, this, like, most, like, Genghis Khan's kingdom only lasted until he died.
Yeah.
And he conquered a huge portion of the world. Also, that story of, like, there is, like, a noticeable percentage of people related to Genghis Khan was fake.
Yeah. No, I knew that. Like, it's like
Yeah.
that would mean that everybody, if they were to do a DNA test, they'd have Mongol.
Yeah. I mean, they
Like
they do a
Mongolian.
joke about it in one of the one of the first characters, side characters, in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where like he always had like a little bit of it, like it's like the foreman for the construction crew tearing down Arthur's house. And he's like he always had like a bit of a temper, and always dreamed about like riding on horseback, trampling over people, and fur hats. And I'm like, it's like that's funny. This is like one of his distant ancestors was Genghis Khan. But like little weird coincidences like that are like completely in the world of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like that's what that whole story is about. Yeah, excuse me.
God created the universe, and this was viewed as a bad move.
Yeah, by most people. And then it's like, here's a mathematical formula that proves you don't exist. And then he
It
stops
is good
existing.
to have a look at my wares. I'm sure there's something.
I still like, it's like God's last words to people before he left was, sorry for the inconvenience.
A good.
In like giant mountain-sized flaming letters. And I'm like, that's awesome.
And
Because it's like that whole idea of like, it's like, I didn't ask to be bored. Are you just picking up trash now?
Just accidentally. It's one of those things where it's like I can't
Yeah.
fucking click
I
the
can't
thing.
get the thing in this bowl without clicking on the bowl. Yeah.
thank you for your. Please return soon.
I think that's one of the like the high member. Yeah. That's,
Antus
like,
Vannon, retired. Sleep late and
okay, never mind.
Yeah.
From his robes, I thought he was like one of the high members of the.
Mage skill.
Yeah. Because like there is one that wears that same robe, I think.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, are you the?
I mean, the guy's got aesthetic. He's got white hair and a white robe. It's like, it's like yeah, whatever.
be happy. Let's do business.
Water breathing helmet, or not? Oh, it's not even water breathing.
It's literally light.
Deep delver. Okay, so delver like the dungeon delver.
Yeah.
You're a fine negotiator.
Oh, Lewis. Because of my increase in intelligence, I got 3 new skills.
Nice.
Tertulli, let's do business.
At least for one of them. I forget which one it was.
Cool.
But
The fucking Akaviri sounded
oh
like.
yeah, that thing's fucking. That's actually one of the really good ones, because it destroys armored weapons.
Goodbye.
It's like, okay, if I ever have enough money and I remember, I will be back.
It's mostly for the enchantment, because that would just fucking destroy people's equipment.
See any? Only quality goods for sale here.
I got.
What can I interest you in?
Come on. I know. I have
It's
lots of
been
tabs.
a pleasure doing business with
I
you.
learned use magic device, just in case. I know with my negative charisma that's bad. Flight of hand, and you'll like this one. Disable device.
Are you gonna start helping me?
Yes.
Just like with my
'Cause
fucking ridiculous
alchemists
shit.
have disabled devices as a skill, remember?
Oh, I know. That's why it's like
Any
I'll help you.
have a look around. You
Okay.
won't find better prices in all
Yeah,
Tamriel.
like. Also, mostly for the heist.
Yeah. And that's out of game. That's gonna be an in between game action, right?
Yep.
That's fucking great.
I'm like, I even told Adam, it's like, I don't care how much we get. I just want to do it. Yeah, Daedric Hearts. Only good for alchemy. Buy some Mandrake root. Buy all those Mandrake roots.
Oh shit.
Like, yeah, either 2
I
gold
wouldn't make
each,
that
and they
deal with
cure
just
disease.
anybody.
Fucking great. Okay. So, now that I've kind of done like a general history thing, is there any questions you have now?
Thank you.
Uh,
Be seeing you.
Not off the top of my head, but we're also at the end of the
Okay.
so. Saved. So quit. Set that aside. Once things start doing. There. Alright, we're gonna switch to mess hall because we're actually using webcam, so that we only got one person to raid, so it's the Mike Lucid, who is currently playing
Fork knife?
Fork Knife. My had a small burp as I was saying it.
I know. But that's like the joke name for it, is fork knife.
Yeah, so. Oh, duh. Great. Alright. Catch everybody later. Probably tomorrow. I'll probably actually start doing stuff, so. Solo stuff at least. And if not, Tuesday for Project Zomboid. So, catch everybody later. There's that. Close that out.